For the beginning. Aiden POV. The king's camp was difficult to navigate. I got lost twice trying to find this person Duncan referred us to. It didn't help that he wasn't wearing warden armor. It was thanks to Naisha that we were able to find Alistair at all. She said she got directions from some guard. I need to be more observant. I also got news that my brother is on some kind of scouting mission. I will have to wait for him to return. Alistair seems like a good man if a little slow, who in their right mind gets in between the chantry and mages. We met up with the other Grey Warden recruits, Sir Jory, and a thief named Davith. Okay, now that we are all here, we will meet with Duncan by the large campfire to start your trial. It seems like joining the Grey Wardens is more than getting a new suit of armor. Trial, huh? Any idea what it is? Is it the same for everyone? 'Cause I'm shorter than everyone else and I call that unfair. Naisha spoke up. I doubt it has anything to do with height, but what do I know, the Grey Wardens are one of the most secretive groups in the world. Alistair laughed. No, it's nothing like that. It's more in the line of stabbing and causing pain. He joked. Will this take long? Some of us don't have forever. Theron asked. He was not getting better, but he didn't look like he was getting worse. I could understand his hurry. No one should have to die from a disease like that. If all goes well, we will see you back to good health by tomorrow. Theron just nodded. Ah, Alistair, I see you brought the recruits. Good job. Duncan spoke out, catching our attention. He and Princess were standing near the fire. I'm amazed I didn't see them. I must be more distracted than I thought. Yup, got all my little ducklings in line. Duncan just gave him a bland look. Alistair coughed. I got the recruits. Naisha snickered at his awkwardness. Duncan coughed, getting our attention. Yes, well, I'll remind you that we don't need any more trouble with anyone here, so don't do any more favors for the chantry, he ordered. Right, sorry, it won't happen again. Alistair apologized. It was like when my father would chastise me for throwing rocks at the chantry. Now, for your trial. Each of you must gain the blood of a dark spawn corpse and recover ancient treaties that were left here for safekeeping, he explained, looking at all of us. Why do we need dark spawn blood? Sir Jory asked. He was clearly disgruntled at the idea of having to get blood from those monsters. I will explain everything when you return from your mission. He avoided the question. Why are ancient treaties out here in the middle of nowhere? Naisha asked. It did seem like a bad place to have extremely important paperwork. We used to have an outpost out here, but we left some documents behind on our way out. They're treaties by the other races saying that if a blight ever happens, they will help stop it. They should be protected through magical means. Alistair will go with you and unlock the chest. That seems strange. If these treaties are so important, why leave them behind? Unless they didn't have a choice. If that's all, you can exit through the south gate into the Korkari wilds. Dark spawn are not monsters. No, monster is too small of a word to describe them. They're wrong. They shouldn't exist. It's as if nature itself doesn't want him to be real. Having this thing's blood on my person is making my skin crawl. The dark spawn, while disgusting and numerous, were no match for 6 well-trained fighters on a mission. But to be honest, it was mostly Alistair. He had this supernatural ability to know where any dark spawn were hiding in ambush. Moving through these creatures of sickness was no problem for us. Naisha was salvaging herbs and plants she found as we walked through the forest. Why are you picking flowers at a time like this? Davith questioned. There was a huge hound back at base. It was sick and needed these herbs to get better. I nodded in approval. We'll make a proper Ferelden out of you yet, I smirked. She, Alistair, and Davith laughed. It felt good to joke again, even if it was just with strangers. Okay everyone, the ruins should be up ahead, Alistair called out. Sword put away, indicating that there were no dark spawn around. The ancient outpost was the picture of what a ruin would look like in a storybook. Most of the walls were gone and everything was being bleached white by the sun and the elements. The chest has been broken open. That doesn't sound good. Theron snaps up, withdrawing his staff, eyes narrowing. We have company. That had my hand on my sword and shield. Well, what do we have here? Well, isn't this a character? It was a half-naked woman in blight-infested lands. Are you a vulture, I wonder? A scavenger poking amidst a corpse whose bones were long since cleaned? Or merely an intruder come into these dark spawn-filled wilds of mine in search of easy prey? She had a fierce look in her yellow eyes. Mage, no doubt. If her way of dress didn't give it away, her staff sure did. What say you, scavenger or intruder? Neither. The Grey Wardens once owned this tower, I answered. From the corner of my eye, I spotted Naisha slowly move to a flanking position with Theron placing a hand on my back. I could feel the beginning of a barrier slowly begin to grow up my back. 'Tis a tower no longer. The wilds have obviously claimed this desiccated corpse. I have watched your progress for some time. Where do they go? I wondered. Why are they here? And now you disturb ashes none have touched for so long. Why is that? I believe she saw what we were doing and moved to a small cliff, maybe to make a quick escape. Don't answer that. She looks chassid, and that means others may be nearby, Alistair warned. I see none, spoke Sir Jory, checking the surrounding area. Ooh, you fear barbarians will swoop down upon you, she joked, exaggeratedly raising her hands. Yes, swooping is bad. Oh, Alistair, come on, that was bad. Who would laugh at that? I then heard Naisha giggle a little, and Theron gave a single huff of his nose in amusement. Maker's loose robes. Was I the only one who thought that was a weak joke? She's a witch of the wilds, she is. She'll turn us into toads, Davith warned in a frightened tone. Davith, we have been fighting abominations from the deep roads for almost an hour, and a single half-naked mage is enough to make you quake in your boots. Get your priorities in order, man. Witch of the wilds, such idle fancies, those legends. Have you no minds of your own? You there, handsome lad, tell me your name and I shall tell you mine. Let us be civilized. Best not fight if it could be avoided. The last thing I want is for Davith to be correct, and I will have to fight the archdemon as a toad. I am Aidan Cousland. A pleasure to meet you. I made sure to add a bit of charm. Mother raised no fool when it came to talking to women. Now, that is a proper civil greeting, even here in the wilds. You may call me Morrigan. Shall I guess your purpose? You sought something in that chest, something that is here no longer. Well, shit. Here no longer. You stole them, didn't you? You're some kind of sneaky witch thief. Okay, first, Alistair, please don't insult the only person who might know the location of what we're looking for. Second, if you're going to insult someone, please, make it better than that. Good burn, Alistair, Theron complimented. Maker, damn it. Theron is hard to read, so for all I know that was a good mage insult. How very eloquent. How does one steal from dead men? Is she made of sarcasm? Quite easily, it seems. Those documents are Grey Warden property and I suggest you return them. It's like talking with Fergus. How, Alistair, do you know she has them? I will not, for 'twas not I who removed them. Invoke a name that means nothing here any longer if you wish. I am not threatened, okay? Clearly, we got off on the wrong foot. Can you please tell us who may have them? I give her a bit of the smolder. She looked thoroughly unimpressed. Good smolder. Maker's breath. Theron, are you being sarcastic? 'Twas my mother, in fact. And of course, Alistair had to be right in some way. Just like Fergus. Can you take us to her? My lady, that look she was giving me was hurting my self-confidence. There is a sensible request. I like you. Self-confidence regained. I'd be careful first, it's, I like you. But then zap, frog time, Alistair warned. Yeah, but at least I'll be a frog she likes, that means she'll eat me last. She'll put us all in the pot, she will, just you watch. Davith is still freaking out. If the pot's warmer than this forest, it will be a nice change. Jory joked. Follow me then if it pleases you. She turned, only to come face to chest with Naisha. She backed up in shock. Sorry, didn't know what you might have done. Had to cover all bases. She had a fake smile on her face, with her blades in her hands. Right, she walked around her and we followed. // Nature POV. I've concluded that forests are made only to test the patience of short people. I almost tripped over a root for the third time in as many minutes. Morrigan had been leading us through this forest for over 30 minutes and I had the feeling she was leading us in circles. I don't know what it is about Morrigan, but just trusting her is difficult, like she has a secret agenda of her own. The trees began to thin out, and a house came into view, and to make the view creepier an old woman was standing in front of the house, as if waiting for us. Greetings, Mother. I bring before you 6 Grey Wardens who, her, mother, interrupted. Clearly, that's not her real mother, they barely look anything alike, but these are humans, so they could be related in some way. I see them, girl. Ha, much like I expected. Really, you were expecting a bunch of heavily armed weirdos walking through the woods, to arrive at your house. Which, I might add, is located at the ass end of nowhere, and being escorted by your daughter. Clearly, I need to learn more about the surface, cause if this is how they operate, I won't be able to get away with anything. Are we supposed to believe you were expecting us? Alistair said, clearly not believing her. You are required to do nothing, least of all believe, shut one's eyes tight or open one's arms wide. Either way, one's a fool. What the feck does that mean? She's a witch, we shouldn't be talking to her. WHAAA. A witch? That's crazy. What was your first clue? Was it her crazy words, or the fact that she lives in a blight-infested land and doesn't look like a monster? Quiet Davith. If she's really a witch, do you want to make her mad? Thank you, Jory, for showing some common sense. There is a smart lad, sadly irrelevant to the larger scheme of things, but it is not I who decides. Believe what you will. And what of you three? Do you possess a different viewpoint or do you believe as the others do? I believe you're crazy and possibly dangerous, I stated. I doubt the weak live out here long, and no sane person would live out here at all. Theron just snorted. He gripped his staff so hard that his knuckles turned white. I believe you have something we need, Aidan said, ever the gruff leader. He had this strong jaw, blue-eyed, handsome look going, but with what happened at his home, his eyes had this edge to them. The bags under his eyes weren't helping. They did not come to listen to your wild tales, Mother, Morrigan reminded her. True, they came for their treaties, yes, and before you begin barking your precious seal wore off long ago. I have been protecting these. I guess we'll take your word for it. You protected them. Alistair had full right to be surprised. Who finds ancient documents and says, oh, these look important, better keep them safe in case they ever return? I don't know this woman, but clearly, she knows something. And why not? Take them to your Grey Wardens and tell them this blight threat is greater than they realize. Knows something indeed. She handed Aidan the treaties. Thank you, they will be eager to act on that. He was clearly uncomfortable talking to this woman. Shit, I was uncomfortable listening to her. Theron and Davith looked ready to book it. Well, I cannot be responsible for their doubt. I would go mad. Or am I already? Oh, do not mind me, you have what you came for. Yup, she crazy. Time for you to go then. Morrigan shooed us away. Girl, you led us here, led us out. Do not be ridiculous, girl, these are your guests. That's right. Oh, very well, I will show you out of the woods, follow me. That's more like it, but if you could lose the attitude, that'd be great. The journey back was faster than the journey there. I'm not sure if it's because Theron cast some sort of quickening spell or if the idea that mad woman would pop up and try and eat us, but we made it back just as the sun fell. I gave the dog master the herbs for the dog. I had to feed it to her, but she was a sweetheart. I can see why humans love them, they're beautiful beasts. We then met up with Duncan by the fire where we left him. So, you returned from the woods, have you been successful? He asked. No, We just like coming in and out of the camp to mess with the guards. Of course, we got the stuff. Come on Duncan, have some faith. That's good. I've had the circle mages preparing. With the blood you've retrieved we can begin the joining immediately. Theron let out a breath of relief. And the women? Asked Aidan. Alistair nodded. There was a woman at the tower, and her mother had the scrolls. They were both very odd. That's putting it mildly. They knew we were going to be there, I added. Were they wilder folk? I don't think so. They might be apostates, mages hiding from the chantry. I know you were once a Templar, Alistair, but chantry business is not ours. We have the scrolls. Let us focus on the joining. What is this joining? Sounds dangerous, Aidan asked. I will not lie, we Grey Wardens bear a heavy price to become what we are. Fate may decree that you pay your price now rather than later. Well, that was ominous. You make it sound like we can die. Can it kill us? Aidan dug for more information. As could any dark spawn you might face in battle. You would not have been chosen, however. If I did not think you had a chance to survive you wouldn't be here. Well, at least that was sort of comforting. Let's go then. I'm anxious to see this joining now. Damn Daveth, where was this courage when you were talking to that old woman? I agree. Let's have it done. Oh sure, Jory, deadly rituals are fine, but an old woman in a broken down house with a naked daughter is just a little too much, I guess. Then let us begin. Alistair, take them to the old temple. / Theron POV. The old temple was a bit of a misnomer. It looked exactly like everything else, a ruin. I'm positive if no one knew this location, this old temple would be considered part of the rest of the outpost. We were separated from everyone else. We were alone, us five, with Duncan and Alistair. I wish they hurry. This blight sickness isn't going away by itself. The more I hear about this joining the less I like it, Jory complained, for the north time tonight. You blubbering again. Daveth is right. Jory has been complaining since we were brought here. Why all these damn tests? Have I not earned my place? Killing a few dark spawn does not make one a Grey Warden, else everyone in this camp would be one by now. Maybe it's tradition, maybe they're just trying to annoy you. Daveth seems to enjoy poking fun at Jory, which must be because Jory will no longer be a knight. After this they will be on the same socio-economic level. Jory's knighthood will become pointless, and Grey Wardens have no titles other than their own. I only know that my wife is in High Ever with a child on the way. If they had warned me, it just doesn't seem fair. You should have stayed. You are the only one to blame. You came for glory and prestige. You will not find that here. Would you have come if they'd warned you? Maybe that's why they don't. The Wardens do what they must, right? That's a scary thought, to have so much power, even if it's during a blight. It must be daunting. Including sacrificing us. I sacrifice a lot more if I knew it would end the blight. Caution what you say, Daveth. It just might come back and bite you. I'll go first. The blight has already infected me. So, if I, a dying elf, can survive, you'll be fine. Probably. Yes, Sir Knight, try not to waste your trousers until the ritual starts. I've just never faced a foe that I could not engage with my blade. Then you have not faced a truly dangerous foe. At last, we come to the joining. The Grey Wardens were founded during the First Blight, when humanity stood on the verge of annihilation. So it was then that the first Grey Wardens drank of dark-spawn blood and mastered their taint. I see, this is indeed dangerous, but I am already infected, so this does not frighten me. We're going to drink the blood of those creatures. But it seems like Jory is not as brave. As the first Grey Wardens did before us, as we do before you, this is the source of our power and our victory. Jory didn't take comfort in Duncan's words. Those who survived the joining become immune to the taint, and we can sense it in the dark spawn and use it to slay the archdemon. Said is a powerful ritual, to give us such abilities. How do we begin? I asked. We speak only a few words prior to the joining, but these words have been said since the first. Alistair, if you would. Alistair walked before us and took a deep breath. Join us, brothers and sisters, join us in the shadows where we stand vigilant. The shadows around us seem to twist and turn. Jory did not seem to take this very well. Join us, as we carry the duty that cannot be forsworn, and should you perish, know that your sacrifice will not be forgotten and that one day we shall join you. Duncan came up to me with the chalice. It was wildly decorated. I could feel the magic coming from it. Theron, come forward. I stepped up to Duncan. I took the chalice. Its contents were black, oily, and very viscous. And the taste was no better. At first, nothing happened, then I heard it. Whispers. Then, a vision. It was a dragon, rotted, monstrous, then it looked at me. The last thing I heard was Duncan. From now on, you are a Grey Warden. And it all went black. //. It is finished, welcome. Duncan, feck that sucked. My head is killing me. I gave a quick look around. Jory and Davith were not here. Naisha and Aidan were sitting on the ground next to me, also shaking their heads. Alistair had a frown on his face. 2 more deaths. In my joining only one of us died, but it was horrible. I'm glad that the 3 of you made it through. How do you feel? Did you have dreams? I had terrible dreams after my joining. He had a hollow look on his face. Dragon, I stated. Duncan nodded. Such dreams come when you begin to sense the dark spawn. As we all do, that and many other things can be explained in the months to come. I guess it's not a good idea to burden your fresh recruits after joining. With my headache, I wouldn't catch half of what they were saying anyway. Before I forget, there is one last part to your joining. We take some of that blood and put it in a pendant, something to remind us of those who didn't make it this far. Jory and Davith were not what I would call friends, but I will use this as a reminder not to chase foolish wants and desires. Take some time. When you're ready, I'd like you to accompany me to a meeting with the king, Duncan asked. King? I would not think a human king would meet an elf, Grey Warden or not. Is it always like that? I have never been to a human city, let alone to Danerum. Naisha snorted, very unladylike, or was it? I don't know any dwarven customs. Best I learn quickly. We might be together for a long time. If you suggested that the king should listen to anyone other than the upper caste in Orzammar, you'd be beaten on the streets as people cheered. I hope she won't be too offended that I never want to visit Orzammar. Even Aidan found that shocking if I'm reading his face correctly. The king is discussing strategy for the upcoming battle. I am not sure why he has requested your presence. The meeting is to the west, down the stairs. Please attend as soon as you're able. He left us to our own devices. Alistair stayed behind to look after us. He handed me a water skin. Alistair is a good man, sent straight from his maker. We just sat here for a while. I took a deep breath. That felt great. Ever since I got the taint, breathing was a difficult task to do. Now what? I asked. What are wardens supposed to do? Yes, I understand we must stop a blight, but how do we do that? Just kill dark spawn until we kill the archdemon. To be honest, I believed I was going to die, so now I'm left holding the bag. Now, we meet the king and defeat the blight. Aidan is a man of great optimism. Or die terribly. Yup, great optimism. He should take humor lessons from Alistair. // Naisha POV. I think this King Kalen is an idiot and is going to get us all killed. He's been arguing with his military advisor for almost an hour. Loghain, my decision is final. I will stand by the Grey Wardens in this assault. But you're a king. Kings don't fight from the front. They have generals for that. You need to stay safe. I think he has some sort of death wish. You risk too much, Kalen. A dark spawn horde is too dangerous for you to be playing hero on the front lines. Loghain is right. If something goes wrong, who will lead in your stead, and why are all the Grey Wardens in the front? Aren't we the only ones who can stop a blight? What happens if we die? Who is going to stop the archdemon? Why is this guy giving orders? If that's the case, perhaps we should wait for the Orlesian forces to join us after all. I don't know anything about the political situation on the surface, but it does feel a bit iffy to have someone who wanted to enslave your people come to help you. I must repeat my protest to your fool notion that we need the Orlesians to defend ourselves. Didn't the last blight almost destroy most of the northern countries? I'm not saying you should get Orlesians, but at least get more Grey Wardens. There are like 50 of us here. It is not a fool notion. Our arguments with the Orlesians are a thing of the past, and you will remember who is king. For now, how fortunate Marek did not live to see his son ready to hand Ferelden over to those who enslaved us for a century. Damn. Brutal, whispered Theron. Then our current forces will have to suffice, won't they? Duncan, are your men ready for battle? Again, I would like to disagree with that, ya no, and not be beheaded. They are, your majesty, Duncan said with a straight face. Damn, that is some confidence. I'll take some of that, please. And these are the young wardens I met earlier. I understand congratulations are in order. Theron just grunted with a small bow. I gave him a thumbs up. This jackass is going to get us killed. We didn't get much of a choice. Your majesty, Aiden, still fearless. I suppose none of us do, but every Grey Warden is needed. Maybe a few hundred more would help. Your fascination with glory and legends will be your undoing, Canon. We must attend to reality. He's right, I didn't gain superpowers with that darkspawn blood. This boy needs to come back to reality. Fine, speak your strategy. The Grey Wardens and I draw the darkspawn into charging our line, and then you will alert the tower to light the beacon signaling my men to charge. Loghain finished. And flank the darkspawn. I remember. This is the Tower of Ashal in the ruins, yes. Who shall light this beacon? I have a few men stationed there. It's not a dangerous task, but it is vital. That sounds like it needs more people. If that's the only way to signal you, we need it to be secure. Then we should send our best. Send Alistair and the new Grey Wardens, to make sure it's done. The king knows Alistair by name. That's crazy. Do they know each other? They do look kinda similar. Will we not be at the front lines? Aiden asked. We need the beacon. Without it, Loghain's men won't know when to charge. Duncan, if you know how important this task is, why don't we have more people there? You see, glory for everyone. You rely on these Grey Wardens too much. Is that truly wise? It's not. Have more people there. Enough of your conspiracy theories, Loghain. Grey Wardens battled the Blight no matter where they're from. And they die there too. Your Majesty, you should consider the possibility of the Archdemon appearing. Duncan spoke up, but didn't recommend having more people at the tower, because there have been no signs of any dragons in the wilds. I guess that would be hard to miss. Isn't that what your men are here for, Duncan? Ah, what? Yes, Your Majesty. Duncan nodded. Don't agree. We still need to know where the bloody thing is, and more people can help. Your Majesty, the tower and its beacon are unnecessary. The circle of Maggie. We will not trust any lives to your spells, mage. Save them for the darkspawn. Aiden had a dark look on his face. Excuse me, mother, but are you going to be on the front lines? Aiden asked, and that edge was there. Of course not. What a ludicrous idea. She scoffed. Then shut the hell up. I do not understand why you're here at all. Say your blessings and get the hell off this maker's damn battlefield. Whoa, I could feel the anger coming from him. He does not like the chantry. Everyone was caught off guard by his rage. The mother started stuttering. Leave. She ran out of the room. The mage looked grateful. What was your plan? He coughed, getting his voice back. We were planning to throw a powerful blast into the sky to alert Loghain's men. Loghain hummed. It was a good backup. How many mages would you need to make an explosion big enough to gain the attention of my men? He asked. In order for there to be no confusion between the battle and our signal, we would need at least 15. The mage said, and we will need some time to cast. 15 mages could make a large difference in the battle, spoke Canon. And nothing is ever simple on the battlefield. If you know that, why don't you have more people at the tower? Loghain sighed. Canon is right. Wow, did he sound defeated or what? To move that many mages from the front could be disastrous. The mage nodded and left. Very well, Canon, we will go with your idea to have the Grey Wardens light the beacon. Thank you again. I cannot wait for that glorious moment when the Grey Wardens battle beside the King of Ferelden to stem the tide of evil. It's going to be a bloodbath. Yes, Canon, a glorious moment for us all. Ominous. Thank you, Theron. Aiden POV. I have a bad feeling about this. Isn't this plan a little too simple? You heard the plan, you four, Princess barked. 5. We'll go to the Tower of Ashal and ensure the beacon is lit. Duncan revised. What? I will not be in the battle. Right. Alistair was not there during the planning. This is by the King's personal request, Alistair. If the beacon is not lit, Loghain's men will not know when to charge. And that would lead to everyone on the front lines dying. So, he needs 4 Grey Wardens standing up there holding the torch just in case, right? I feel like we need more people, stated Naisha with her arms crossed. Why didn't you say anything before? I asked if she believed more people were needed. Why didn't she inform the king? What part of, we'll have them beaten in the street as people cheered, did you not understand? She deadpanned at me. Right. Different culture. I doubt the king would have done that, I spoke. Loghain looked ready too, Theron said. Okay, well that's different. Loghain looks ready to punch anyone and everyone at any time, all the time. Yes, well, too late to say something now. Where do we go? I asked Duncan. The tower is on the other side of the gorge from the king's camp, the way we came when we arrived. You'll need to cross the gorge and head through the gate and up to the tower entrance. From the top you overlook the entire valley. So we'll have a perfect view of everything. When do we light the beacon? I haven't been given any sort of signal. We will signal you when the time is right. Alistair will know what to look for. Alistair nodded. I guess there is some sort of secret warden signal I have yet to learn. That's probably taught on the 3rd day of warden training. Do we rejoin the battle afterward? Alistair looked intently at Duncan. He really wanted to be in that battle. Stay with the Tairn's men and guard the tower. If you are needed, we will send word. Why? What's so important about the tower after we light it? Naisha asked. The tower has weapons and ammunition for the soldiers to use. If dark spawn breaks off to the tower, losing it will cause an upheaval in our battle plan. Are there any more questions? We didn't say anything. Then I must join the others. From here you 4 are on your own. Remember, you are all Grey Wardens. I expect you to be worthy of that title. That's a heavier burden than I thought. Duncan, may the Maker watch over you. Alistair said with a small quiver in his voice. He said that like I did when I said goodbye to my parents. May he watch over us all, he said his final goodbye as he left. We hadn't passed the bridge when the first volley of arrows started flying. Down, Theron pulled me down as an arrow flew overhead where my head was. Quick to the tower, Alistair screamed. This is madness. The Darkspawn's trebuchets were battering the bridge. Move, move. I saw men be blasted off the wall and disappear in the gorge. People scream for their families, a dying man holding a locket like it would give him hope. It felt like the end of the world. We barely got to the tower when someone came running out. You have to help us, they're everywhere. A young man screamed. He had shaggy black hair, he couldn't be older than 18 summers. A dark spawn came running up behind him and would have taken his life if it wasn't for a slightly older man, slicing it in half with a great sword. Carver, don't turn your back to these things. He was older, he had a full beard. Maybe his brother. Garrett, he seems surprised. Thank me later, we have problems now. And true to his words, more dark spawn came out of the tower. How did they get here? Before they could get too close, they were all set on fire and blown away. I looked over and saw Theron with his arm outstretched. I guess this is him at full power. He just nodded. What happened? I ordered. The dark spawn came from underneath the tower, and killed most of the soldiers inside. Garrett replied. Then we must light the beacon ourselves. Alistair screamed. Have you lost your mind? There are dozens of dark spawn in there and there are only 7 of us. Carver protested. Yeah, we know, But if we don't light the beacon in time, everyone dies and the blight destroys Ferelden. I screamed. That seems to light a fire under them. They looked at each other and nodded. Lead the way, Garrett said. The fighting up the tower was grueling. There was a dark spawn in every dark room and every 7 steps. There were corpses all over the floor, and only the thing I could think of was how they made it difficult to fight. This is it, the top floor, stated Garrett. The second we open the door I'll light the beacon, Naisha said, lighting an arrow for a bow she found downstairs. I nodded. We have taken enough time to get up here. I just hope we were fast enough. Opening the door revealed an enormous hunched creature. It must have smelled us because it turned and roared. Ogre, screamed Alistair. Naisha let fly lighting the beacon. The beast took exception to that, cause it rushed us. We all jumped to the side dodging its rush. It may be made of muscle, but it was slow, and that's how we played it. Stay far enough that we don't get in each other's way, but close enough so when we dodge someone could cut it. It was working until Carver tripped, allowing the beast to grab him. Carver, screamed Garrett, rushing to save his brother. The ogre raised Carver to slam him into the ground, only to freeze as a large metal ball slammed through the wall and its chest, leaving a huge hole. We all froze, then the ogre fell dead. Carver, are you okay? Garrett screamed, rushing to his brother who was getting out of the ogre's grip. I'm okay, Maker's breath. What the feck was that? What was that? Naisha asked, looking over to the ball of metal. Magic. Theron pointed at it. Magic. The ball began to move, causing us to jump into a defensive stand. It began to mold itself into a 9-foot metal knight. What is this thing? Please remain calm. We are here to help. It spoke, kinda. I didn't see its lips, but words did come out of it. It just kept repeating that. A dark spawn ran through the door only to meet its grisly doom as the metal knight grabbed its head and violently removed it from the rest of its body. Please remain calm. We are here to help. Well, okay then. Who am I to argue? Look, Naisha pointed to something outside. An island came from the sky shooting more metal balls at the battlefield. Please evacuate this area. There are dangerous elements here. I would love to, but dark spawn was swarming the only way out. And while the metal man was doing an amazing job ripping him apart, it wouldn't last forever. It was already losing ground too fast for my liking. Please evacuate this area. There are dangerous elements here. I'm thinking, give me a moment. The island is turning this way. What? Natus was right, it was going to pass right underneath the broken wall. Get ready. Everyone looked at me. When it passes by the wall, we jump. Everyone looked at me like I was crazy. Do you have any better plans? That got him to line up next to the wall. That's what I thought. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Please evacuate this area. There are dangerous elements here. We're going, and the island finally reached underneath us. Jump. It was only about 10 feet, but it might as well be at the bottom of the ocean, with how long it felt like it took to hit the ground. I was expecting a harder landing, but it was actually pretty soft. Why hello there. I looked up, staring at a 6'3" man looking down at us. His blue eyes looked to be glowing. Hi,